session. I'm so glad to see so many Rotarians joining us tonight as we focus on one of the most important topics in Rotary, membership. Our members are the heart of Rotary. It's through your passion, your ideas, and your connections that we continue to grow, serve, and make lasting change in our communities and around the world. Tonight's session is all about sharing best practices, learning from one another, and exploring creative ways to attract and engage members who will help us build an even stronger Rotary future. Thank you so much for taking the time to invest in your Rotary knowledge and leadership. Let's make tonight interactive, inspiring, and filled with great ideas that we can take back to our clubs. I want to thank Louisa for being here with us tonight and Joe for putting this all together. Take it away, Joe.
Hey, well, thank you. I'm not sure if I put anything together, but I am the moderator for tonight. Thank you very much, Nisi. I'm just going to throw three words out there for you: membership, opportunity, and engagement. And that's what tonight's Learning Tuesday is all about. How do we create those opportunities to engage our members? And how do we as members take advantage of those opportunities to have the best member experience we can? I'm going to put a couple of questions out there that you can start thinking about. The first one is, how do we create opportunities for member engagement? How do we create opportunities for member engagement? And the second question is, what opportunities have you had in Rotary? I'm a big believer in opportunities. I think they're the key to a lot of what we do in Rotary. And if you have any thoughts on those and you'd like to share them in the chat before we get to the open forum, then please do so. Virginia O'Reilly and I think Joan Littleford are going to be monitoring the chat, and we will come to you in a bit. We have a special guest tonight. Louisa Horn is the membership coordinator for Zone 28. She's going to be, nobody knows more about membership and has better stories than Louisa.
Oh.
But before we get to her, we want to celebrate someone who, for 30 years, nearly 30 years, was the absolute epitome of engagement in Rotary. Many of you know her. Maureen Bird was loved and respected across our district and beyond, known for her work globally and here at home. Word came out last night that she had passed away on October 7th. Our deepest condolences to her family, her friends, and all those who worked with her. To help honor Maureen, we have Donna Jones-Simmons, president of Maureen's Club of Toronto. Donna, thank you for doing this. Tell us a bit about Maureen.
Tough, right? My pleasure. Maureen, she embodied everything Rotary stands for: service above self, integrity, fellowship, and an unshakable belief in the power of action. Her passing on October 7th leaves a deep void in our club, to be very honest, but her legacy continues to shine brightly through the countless lives she has touched. Maureen's contribution to the Rotary were vast and far-reaching. I'm sorry, I'm getting choked up when I speak about Maureen, so apologies. Her contributions were vast and far-reaching. She was a member of our board, and as chair of the International Service Committee for many years, she led with clarity, intelligence, and heart. She understood the complex world of grant better than most of us. She understood it very well. She used that knowledge to secure critical funding for projects that changed lives around the world. Her leadership helped advance international initiatives that empowered women, supported education, and strengthened community. Here's a highlight of one of the global grants just before her passing that took her to the top of the world. She received this email. I'm going to quote it here. "Congratulations, Maureen. Your global grant application for funding to provide an ambulance to Ubundu Village of Life, UVL, clinic to improve health outcomes by offering medical assistance, submitted recently, and supported transportation to critically ill patients, laboring mothers, and referrals to tertiary hospitals in Mugamba, Burundi, submitted by the club, as well as Bujumbura, Ubundu, and our club. It has been approved by our foundation as well as their foundation. The award is in the amount of $69,839 US. But Maureen's impact wasn't confined to the boardroom or our committee tables. She was hands-on in every sense of the word. When our club had to move from the York Fairmont Hotel, she was one of the first persons to show up her hands and start packing. She often lent a helping hand to our executive director, managing files, coordinating logistics, and ensuring everything ran smoothly. For Maureen, no job was ever too small or too large. She also had a gift for teaching and mentoring others, whether it was guiding members through grant application or showing them how to use a sewing machine. She did it all with patience and joy. Many of us fondly remember her at the sewing pad project, where she not only stitched fabric, but also stitched the hearts together, empowering others to contribute in meaningful ways. And of course, one of her greatest passions was Camp Skugog, a place where she found deep joy helping children and families thrive and helping to rebuild the cabins. Perhaps a carpenter? When she could no longer attend in person, our club ensured that her spirit would remain ever present. A cabin named the Birdhouse now stands as Camp Skugog, a lasting tribute to her compassion, dedication, and love for service. Maureen was everywhere. Sorry, I'm choking up again because that that greenhouse was amazing, and she got a picture of it. Maureen was everywhere, though. If something needed doing, she was there. She led by example, quietly, humbly, and always with purpose. As we honor her memory, let's carry forward her example to give selflessly, to lead with purpose, and to leave every space better than we found it. On behalf of the club, we extend our deepest condolences to her family. I was fortunate enough to spend some time with her at home, and although she was in pain, she was still in her spirited self, full of life and love. So thank you for showing up, Maureen, and thank you for her service.
Hey, Donna, let's just have a few seconds to people who knew her to take in that. Thank you. And thank you, Maureen, for everything. Thank you, Donna. Well, now it's time for Louisa Horn. Louisa is a member of the Rotary Club of Halifax Harborside. Is it Halifax Harborside or Halifax Harbor, Louisa?
It's Halifax Harbor now. We merged with the old Halifax Club, and so we adjusted our name when we made that shift.
So have I got that right? Harborside?
That's Harbor. No, Harbor. Just Harbor. We were
Okay.
Harborside. Now we're just Harbor.
Okay. I'm just going to cross that out and it'll never be seen again. In 2019, 2020, she was the district governor of District 7815. So that was during COVID, was it?
Mm-hmm.
And there you go. That must have tested your membership skills.
It did.
And right now, and I've had the pleasure of working with her at the zone level. She is the current membership coordinator for Zone 28. And thank you very much for joining us, Louisa, and giving up your time. Thank you very much. I know membership is close to your heart. Why is membership so close to your heart anyway? That wasn't on my questions, but why is it so important to you?
Because it underlies everything. We are our members. Everything happens at the club level. The action happens at the club level. And so having an impact and having action depends on having engaged people. So that's the piece that engages me the most, is making sure we have those teams of people ready to do all the things that we do to have impact in our communities.
It's important to be engaged, isn't it? Otherwise,
It's critical.
what are we? There you
Well,
go.
and we just heard a wonderful story and tribute to someone that obviously is a very sad time for your area to have lost someone who was so engaged. That was wonderful to hear about.
She's inspiring, and she was so engaged. And when I hear her story, I want to be more engaged. You did a survey a few years ago, and I guess everybody asks you about this. It's kind of like what you're famous for, Louisa's survey, about why people leave Rotary. What did you find briefly?
Well, there have been a number of surveys. I've been involved in some, and RI has done some as well. And they all pretty much come back the same, that the immediate answers that people give when we do exit interviews or surveys, they'll often say time or money, but it's really neither of those things. When we drill down, it really comes down to their experience, to what the member experience was, the club experience, and all of the aspects of that that help them feel engaged or not. So it comes right back to that engagement thing, that people don't leave Rotary, they leave the experience that they've had that wasn't giving them satisfaction for one reason or another. And you may know that I started talking some years ago about this idea of being irresistible and having the factors in place that would help somebody find a particular club to be irresistible, meaning they just don't want to miss it. They want to be there. They're so engaged, they want to be there. And we know there are a few things that make that happen within a given club. And certainly the surveys have reinforced that over and over, that it is around club experience, member experience, and just the whole sort of nature of the club and what kind of feeling it gives to people coming into that club as to whether or not they want to be part of it or not.
So one of the questions we put out there was how do we create those opportunities within our clubs for member engagement? So how would you answer that question? How would you do that?
Well, the club experience makes up a few things. And the first one is that people feel like they belong. And so it's a welcoming environment that that helps create that kind of culture, comes down to club culture, where people feel like this is a place I want to be. So that's the first thing. If they don't have that, they're not going to stay. If they don't feel like it's a place that they're welcomed, that they can come to belong. They don't necessarily feel that on day one, but where they feel like, okay, this is a place where I want to be. This is a place that I think has the sort of attributes that are going to make me feel like I should be with this group of people, and I will have the opportunity to make a difference, right? That's generally what people want. They're often looking at the beginning for those connections, that belonging piece, whether it relates to their work environment or they're new to a community and they don't know anybody. Those are some of the things that prompt them in the beginning to want to be part of a club or to agree to join a club. But then once they've made that decision, the club absolutely must be welcoming and have that feeling of belonging. So that's step one. Then step two of making the difference is that there has to be a sense of purpose. There has to be something that's happening that enables the passions of those people that we would like to have as part of our club, our group, our committee, our district, whatever it is. That's kind of the phrase that I use more than any other now, because I think it really encapsulates that idea that people come to us with an interest in connecting. We want them to be engaged in service, and so therefore we need to enable their passions or they will simply go away.
That's a great phrase, enable their passions. And sometimes you might not even know what that passion is until maybe you get a taste of it, you know? And that happens in Rotary, doesn't it?
It does. And so often we tend to say, okay, we want you to be part of our club. We're inviting you to join. We have these 3 projects, or we have these 5 projects, whatever. We have these 6 committees. Where do you want to be? Where can we put you in? Well, they may not be the things that are exciting for that person, that's enabling their passions. So rather than saying, here's what we do, where will we slot you in? The conversation really needs to be around, where do you want to make a difference in the community? And community is local, global, doesn't matter. But where do you want to make a difference? What is it that we could help happen for you? I've had that conversation with potential members, and they're always kind of surprised when I say, how can we enable whatever difference it is that you want to make in the community? And they're like, whoa, oh, you mean what I want to do, what I want to change, what I want to have make a difference? Yeah, what do you want to do that would make a difference? And maybe we can help make that happen, because maybe it's something that you as one person can't do, but maybe if it's something that we can bring to the club and have a conversation, maybe we can help make that happen. So then you've got somebody going, whoa, okay, let's keep talking, right? It's a very different conversation than here are the 6 things, where do we put you? Rather, where can we help you do the kinds of things that you'd like to do in the community?
Can you comment on what I consider three of the most deadly, soul-sucking words in Rotary? We tried that. If somebody
Yeah,
comes
those are,
with thinking, oh yeah, we tried that,
yeah.
and that's like, okay, yeah. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, that's a good way to describe them. They are some of those killer phrases. We have a few. We've already tried that and it didn't work. That's not the way we've always done it. That's not the way we do it around here. I've been chairing this committee for 10 years, and you just sit and listen for a while, and after a couple years, then maybe you can be part of it. I mean, there's all of those kinds of phrases that we use, or things that we say to people that just kill their interest and kill their enthusiasm. And sadly, it happens far too often. So if we truly want to be attractive to new people coming in, and that's really the way to think about it, we need to be attractive to those people that we would like to have become part of us. Not we're going to go recruit them, drive it down their throat and convince them. I'm not a fan of the word recruit. I'm a fan of the word attract. So if we really want to do that, then we have to be prepared to have shifts in what we do. Because every new person that comes into a group is going to change it a little bit. Something is going to change about the dynamic. So if you have a committee of 3 and you add number 4, you have a club of 25 and you add 26, doesn't matter. There's going to be a little shift somewhere, because that new person, unless they are truly just a lump, they're going to have something to say. They're going to bring an idea. They're going to have a suggestion. They're going to have something that they want to contribute. And if they're shut down right off the bat, sayonara, they're going to be gone before very long. That's just the reality. Yeah.
Do you think some clubs are, or sometimes, and I won't just say some clubs, I think it's sort of human nature, might be threatened about somebody coming in with a new way of doing things, or a new idea that nobody's ever, I mean, do you think that exists out there?
Of course it does. It exists everywhere, in the workplace, in families, when a new person comes along and becomes part of the gang, in clubs, in a committee, in any environment. That shift in the dynamic is enough to cause people a little bit of stress. And there are different kinds of people and how they react to it. Some people are going to say, great, bring it on. Let's have some new ideas. We've been doing this same fundraiser. We've been doing this same service project the same way for 10 years. It would be great to try something new. And then there are the other people that say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I've been chairing this for this long, leave it alone. I know how to do this. And there's an ownership, and there's a bit of a protectionism that can come into play. And they're going to resist those changes because they like it the way it is. And I understand that. And we have to honor that. And we have to appreciate that and recognize that people that have been doing things the same way for a long time are naturally going to be pretty attached to it. And so maybe having a little shift there might not be super easy to do. And we might have to do it rather carefully and understand the dynamics and the personalities involved, and help those new people to figure out the way to present some of the new ideas, and help them and protect them and support them as they do bring new things to the table, because it's going to happen.
I'm going to share a little story from my own Rotary experience. And the story is one that if it hadn't have happened this way, I might have just left. Like I might not be doing Rotary now. When I joined, I had the great fortune of kind of having a bit of a skill to put things together, shows, whatever. And I found myself producing a new stage at our Rig Fest, which was really cool. But it already existed. It was somebody's idea. I said, I'll do it. I put my hand up. I came up with an idea after that to do, and people are sick of hearing this story, but to do a fundraising concert for food security called the Concert to Feed the Need. And I was a new Rotarian, and I remember writing a letter, writing an email to the chair of our fundraising committee, who was a fairly long-time Rotarian, and I pitched my idea. And instead of saying, well, I don't know, we're run up by the board, he said, his answer was, I really like the way you think. That was his answer. And that I could run with it. And I started it. I actually had it half done before I realized the board had to approve it. But and he and another longtime member were really, really supportive. And that meant everything. That just meant everything. And I think you know, we really have to encourage that in our members, you know, and the worst thing that happens is it's not going to work, you know, so
Yeah.
big deal. So anyway, thank you very much, Louisa. You can stick around. We're going to move off to some other people who may have stories. And I just want to go to Donna again. Donna, your Toronto Rotary Club, you have something called, you actually have something called the Member Engagement Committee. What is that? What does that committee do? Describe what it does.
Yeah, the member engagement, it really looks at ensuring members are in a totality engaged. We had some issues last year. We lost quite a few people, and we are now working on rebuilding. So the member is gaining momentum, it's shaping up in a really nice, effective way. It's currently developing its terms of reference and ensuring that it's what they're doing is aligned with our strategic priorities. As you know, membership is one of our strategic priorities. We are trying to build on numbers. Our goal is to ensure people foster and embrace the kind of change that Louisa talked about. In September, as a result, the Member Engagement Committee conducted a survey to better understand what are some of the priorities for the members. And here's what came out of this survey. They want us to increase social events for fellowship and connections. They want us to see us implement a mentorship program for new members. They want us to revitalize meetings to enhance engagement, offer more affordable meals for attendees, provide hybrid access, ensure clear information is communicated. So we got a good understanding of what they want. And I think if we work on those things which I've charged them to do, we will see some improvement in not only a growing membership, but also engagement within the club. We want people to participate in committees. We want them to bring themselves forward. I've encouraged them to speak at meetings as opposed to sitting back and just listening. That's not good enough. So those are kind of things we're encouraging them to do and that they're working on. So our next step is to gather a team together, review the results, on their close lens, and develop some action strategies that will help us really grow, engage, and sustain membership more on a long-term basis.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And those things that you mentioned are the kinds of things that I've heard come back from clubs with similar kinds of surveys. And it's really interesting that the first one is around more social so people can connect more, right? And that comes right back to that belonging thing, right? If it's almost like a prerequisite for everything else that happens, that to do amazing service, to have impact in the community, to address those 4 priorities. If we don't have people that feel like they belong and they want to be there and they want to do stuff with these other people, it's not going to happen. Duh. It's just not going to happen. So that's fantastic. I love that.
I just want to comment too, Louisa, is that often we think people want things. We don't know that for a fact. So I said, let's do a survey. Let's hear what they got to say, as opposed to let's give it to them what we think they need. So
Perfect.
yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Well done.
Thanks.
You see, District Governor,
Yes.
what are your thoughts on member engagement? How we're doing, what we need to do better in our district, in the clubs in our district? What do you say?
So I think Louisa and Donna have said it. We have to keep our members engaged. We have to keep our members engaged, not only for new members coming in, but also for the members we already have. That's retention is very important as well. We have to make our meetings fun. There has to be a reason why we're at those meetings. We have to make our events fun. We have to make them, I hate to say this, but affordable these days. These events have to be affordable for everybody. So yeah, I think Louisa and Donna have hit it on the head and said exactly what I'm thinking.
Right.
Your club
Yes.
is pretty engaged, Nisi. You know, I mean, I've been to your meetings, and one of the things that I find impressive about your club is how engaged so many individual members are. How do you encourage that in your club?
I think letting everybody have a voice. I think that's a really important. like Louisa was saying, letting, don't always say, oh, we've tried that before. We have to get out of that. Just, I mean, I'm reiterating everything Louisa has just said, but we have to get out of that. So maybe you tried it 20 years ago. Maybe it's going to work again. Mhm.
We have a question here from Ellen in Pickering for Donna. Donna, what did you find most effective when you're trying to attract new members when building up your club again? You're muted, Donna.
About that.
Donna, you're
Yeah, I
muted.
saw it on the chat, so I tried to respond. I said I was really surprised at the need for social interaction. Really shocked. I had my head in a cloud, obviously, out, and they want that outside of our meetings. They don't want it to be part of the meetings. So I've started the ball rolling. I've started by inviting a few members of the club to have breakfast with me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I want to throw out some personal experience. I want to get some personal experiences from people who are on this call. Dave, can you bring back the gallery?
So, Joe, I have a question for
Yeah.
Louisa.
Hmm.
So, Louisa, how do you cope with people who sort of command the room and start with things like, "Oh, we've done that. I've been doing membership for so long, and that doesn't work." So, how do you have some recommendations as to how one would get through there?
Yep, I have one-to-ones with those people because there's just no other way that I know of other than to sit down with that person and say, I'll say his name was Joe, just because that's the name on my head at the moment. Joe, I know you've been doing this a long time, and boy, oh boy, you've really brought a lot to the table with the years that you've been doing this. And now we're really fortunate that we brought some of these new people in, and they're going to have new ideas, and they're not all going to be the same. And I really need your help to encourage those people because we want them to stay, right? And maybe some of those people can shadow you. Maybe you can mentor them, but I'd like us to work together to figure out some new ways to think about this and to be open to these new ideas. And if they can't do that, well, I'm going to move them aside. Simple as that. But we're going to have the conversation first. And I would do that one-to-one with those people because it's usually only a couple of people that are like that.
Mhm.
And they're common. They're everywhere. We have them in clubs. So I've had those conversations with past district governors. I've had them with club leaders. I've had them with chairs who don't want to change. And I've just said, you're not going to do this forever, I don't think. You've been doing it for 10 years, but I'm guessing it's not going to go for 20 more. So how are we going to put the conditions in place for people to want to do it? Because first of all, nobody's going to want to do it for 10 years again like you have. You've been amazing to want to do that. But now that's not going to likely happen with new people coming in. So we've got to figure out how together we're going to bring people together to do this in a different way.
Thank you.
Anybody have any personal stories that are kind of, been given an opportunity and your club encouraged you and you got engaged in Rotary? Nisi?
Joe, I don't have well, I do have lots of personal stories, but we don't have time. I just want to add on to what Louisa was saying. Something I learned at zone training this past September that I found really important for me was they say we're change makers, but they said don't always use the word we're going to change things in our club. Use the word choice, because by saying the word change, we're saying that the Rotarians that did it 20 years ago might have been doing it wrong. So let's make different choices in our clubs and maybe put that spin on it.
Mhm.
That's all I want to say.
Joe, can
Do
we
we have
go to
any
test?
stories? I told mine about getting an opportunity and how
Can I
that
share?
engaged me. Anybody else have anything?
Joe, can
Test?
I share mine?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I go around the district and I help clubs learn how to sew the girls' kits that go down to the Dominican to help girls stay in school. And I first came up to the project was given to me. It was really, really small. And while I was in my sewing room, busy sewing, I came up with the idea that I wasn't going to do this alone, that I needed people to help me. And I went to our club president at the time and I said, I want to try this idea of, teaching people how to sew and doing a little mini, I call it a quilt fest for lack of a other thing to say, because I went on quilting retreats and I said, why can't I just, organize sewing retreats and have people sew these kits? And it'll be fun for me to get to meet other people, as well as I think that other people would like to hear the story and be involved in it. My president at the time said, oh, that's not going to work. And I sort of said, well, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I just want to try it. And it has since taken off. And it's almost like she said, it's not going to work. So I was determined to prove her wrong, that maybe that's part of my personality. But what I've found with the project is it is a really wonderful way to get the community, not just Rotarians, but the community involved in the project. So the community gets to see what Rotary does. And I think it's a really good membership tool to bring members of the community into the fold of Rotary, seeing us in action.
Fantastic. I love that. You had the right personality or the right attitude to not let that slow you down, Janet. So good for you, because other people that wouldn't have had that particular approach would be gone now. So
Yeah.
good for you.
Most likely.
Yeah, there is, I think, when you join Rotary, there is some kind of thing. I don't know if I call it responsibility, but if you got something, you got to speak up, which is really hard, to not everybody could do that. So it has to be encouraged. Anybody else have a little story they have? You put your hand up. Tess.
Can we go to Tess?
Yeah, I got Tess, right? Nice call.
Yeah, thank you. I was in the wrong club to begin with, and I wanted to be in Rotary, and it wasn't the people in the club. It's just that my club, the one that I joined, and I was in this club for 10 years. It just didn't feel right. And then I found the right club, and I'm in the right club now because it was that social engagement that drew me. But my question for everyone is, I'm a big time planner. I love to plan things in advance. I like to have it all mapped out. How can I use doing a strategic plan or a strategic mapping session with my club to help with membership?
Lisa?
Okay, I didn't want to leap in until I saw somebody else in. I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great start from a program perspective within your club to talk about a skill that you can bring to the table, perhaps as a program sometime to talk about how that might be able to help the club. Another opportunity would be through the board to say, here's an idea that I have. I'd like to offer this as a skill and a talent that I have that maybe the board would like to consider. Or it's with a project that you're involved in. It may just be that you're taking the lead or taking a significant role on a committee to plan an event. Could be a small event, could be a big event, but just demonstrate how to use those planning skills to make it all go more smoothly and to say, we've got a charter document, we've got a timeline, we've got the budget figured out, we've got the who, all the different pieces are all together, and here's the document, and at the end of it all, here's the debrief with the planning document to help the people that do it next year. I've done that a few times with events that I've been involved in, where at the end of it, I say, here's my debrief and here are the notes that I took that might be helpful for somebody. And usually somebody says, oh my gosh, like, whoa, wasn't expecting this. Can you maybe do this for another event? And then you're planting the seed and demonstrating the value of what you bring to the table. That would be an off the top thought on that one, but I'll see what others think.
Dina? You have something to offer? You got there.
So we have a new member in our club, and he has a ton of great ideas, lots of new ideas. So I put him in touch with Dave Andrews, and now he sits on the Public Image Committee because he's just got so many ideas. He needed some outlet to explore those. So I'm sure he has a ton of ideas for the committee. So hopefully we'll see something come out of that. So sometimes it's just not within your own club. It's putting people into other positions in other clubs even, or on the district. That can be also very helpful.
We got them
Absolutely.
working right away. We got them working right away.
I know you do.
Excellent. And that's a really important point, Tina, because sometimes it is our responsibility to suggest that somebody who's interested in our club might be happier in another club. As we just heard somebody say, they were in a club that wasn't the right club for them, but it's the right club for somebody else. And sometimes somebody might come to our club and we think, oh, this would be a great member, but gee, I'm not sure that they're going to be satisfied in our club. They might be happier in this other club. And that's our responsibility to say so.
So I just have a comment for Tess. Tess, when we were in Winnipeg at the Institute, the training, one of the sessions I sat in on what had to do with using the 4 pillars of the action plan towards membership. And I believe, I'm pretty sure that I have a handout from there that I can, or either I can reach out to the person who did it, who might be able to shed some more light on your question.
Oh, thank you, because I'm going to be at the district conference, so maybe if you can bring that document to the conference,
Yeah.
that would be great.
Yeah, because he's been involved with this now for quite a few years. Mark Odin.
Mark Odland, yeah.
Thank
Mark
you.
Odland.
I never say it right. But, and so Mark had an interesting sort of output and how to follow along. So I will bring that, I'll find it and bring it along.
Thanks,
We will
that's
look-
great.
Sorry.
The other thing
Sure.
that I wanted to say is somebody had mentioned engagement is part of membership, and I'm a big fan of RLI, and I think that's another branch that is underused, that we can use the Learning Institute in order to engage and teach the new members and older members what Rotary does on a small scale and a big scale. So I think it's really important that RLI be part of that plan.
Mhm.
When I was at RLI, I met someone who's on the call tonight. Hal, you around? Hal, there you are. Hey, Hal, unmute yourself. There you go.
Yeah.
You remember you and I were new Rotarians,
I
and we
remember
met at
that.
RLI, and we were exchanging stories about all the things we wanted to do. And I mean, you're like a huge part of your club now. How open was your club to running with your ideas that you had?
Wow. You hit the nail on the head right there. It all started, I just have to take you back. It all started, I was invited to the club. And the member that invited me to the club, I never knew our club is a breakfast club. People gathers at 6:30, 6:45. This member usually shows up around 8. But I'm an early person, and I was there at 6:30. And the welcome that I received is still with me to this day. And the name of the person,
Describe that. What happened? Describe the welcome.
the member at the door at that time, his name was Claudio. And I walked in and he welcomed me to the club. I had to sign in as a guest. And the next step was some person walked up to me and took me over to the coffee machine. I said, I'm not a coffee drinker. I drink tea. We had some tea, had some chat, introduced me to a few members, and it was instantly hooked on the club. By the time the member that introduced me to the club came in and he tried to introduce me to people, I already said to him, I met, Dave, Peter, Paul, you name it. I met all these people already. And he was in shock. And I knew right away I want to be part of this. And that was the gateway to the club that kept me in the club. And it allowed me to bring ideas up, even things that I never thought of because I never experienced the Rotary before. So I wasn't sure what it was up against, how the club functioned. So when I came up with any idea, it was totally open. And I ran with all my ideas. And I would say I was in a club maybe a month or two. I never missed an opportunity to be engaged, to be volunteering, to voice my opinion because I felt like it was there for me to express myself. I wasn't hindered in no way at all. I didn't hold back because I didn't see that from day one. So I'm still
Wow.
there. You know.
Anybody else have a story? Like House Club, by the way, is Whitby Sunrise.
So that's clearly a
Cheers
club
for
that
Whitby
makes it
Sunrise.
safe, right? So that's a safe, they've created a safe environment for people to feel comfortable that way, which is wonderful. So I just want to applaud that club for creating that kind of culture and having it be so open to people presenting their ideas. So yay for them.
And it's a club that grows a lot. You know, they have a lot of energy and they grow. And it's probably because the club experience is good right off the bat. So
Exactly.
No,
anybody
I
else
think
have a
Joan Littleford was,
Yeah,
go
I was just going to say,
Joan?
I was working in West Africa a number of years ago, and it had nothing to do with Rotary, but the district governor learned that we were there. There was another person and myself, and was interested in what we were doing. Had us over to his home for lunch, and we really had a wonderful conversation about what was needed in the country, etc. And at the end of the conversation, we were getting ready to leave, and he said, "You're a Rotarian, you just don't know it yet." And I didn't know what Rotary was. I really didn't. But that really sparked an interest in me. And so I just made arrangements to go to a club. I looked it up. It's where I was living then, not in Whitby. Um, and I had a great meeting. It was fine. But in the parking lot on the way home, somebody came up to me and just engaged me in conversation. And I told her why I came, just out of curiosity. And she said, "We have an international meeting tonight. Would you like to come?" So I went, and the person who was supposed to be taking the minutes wasn't there. So suddenly I was the secretary of the international committee. And I have to tell you, just the confidence of, I didn't do anything special, just took notes, but the fact that people welcomed me, gave me a job, and I was on the international committee from then on. I didn't become a member for a while, but I was there and engaged. So I'm just letting people find their way and encouraging them quickly, not waiting until you see what they're up to and whether they will fit the mold that you have set for them, I guess, is really important.
They enabled your interests.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anybody else
Fantastic.
have a story they want to share? Put your hand up, speak up. Karen?
Thank you. I didn't know how to do the little hand on my picture there. I just wonder, as far as I'm going to be at the membership committee meeting tomorrow night, and they're very social in our club, and they're planning different activities, and that's nice. They're all nice people. I didn't really join for that purpose, although I'm not opposed to it. But I'm wondering if something social in the community, out at a hockey game or whatever, might be an opportunity to attract new members. You see, with your hoodie on, your Rotary toque or whatever, people enjoying themselves, being part of the community. I don't know when anybody thinks that makes sense at all.
I
Go ahead,
was on a membership
Louisa.
sorry,
Sure.
I was on a membership meeting about a week or two ago, and one of the clubs there said the way that they've been connecting with the community is they have been working the concession at the local hockey game, like the like minor little league hockey game, and their club has been working the concession, and they have met, they've gotten new members, and they've met lots of people in the community who now have a better idea of what Rotary is.
Great idea,
Yep.
thanks.
That's happening in a number of places. There's a few places that do it kind of big time. In New Jersey, I think it is.
Yeah,
There's a
that-
club that does the concessions at their, it's more than Little League. It's in whatever the next couple up would be for
Yeah.
basketball and baseball. That's their only fundraiser. That's all they do, and they
Wow.
make huge money. Now, my own club has just kind of gotten into this by accident a little bit with some music festivals in Halifax, that we have gone to them and said, we will run your bar. And so we've been doing that exact same thing, running the concession, making some money from it, all in our logo gear, having a blast, and people see it and say, whoa, Rotary, what are you doing here? And so it is a great way to make those connections,
Yeah.
for sure.
I was
wearing your logo is really important.
I want to say we were driving from Thunder Bay to here to Oshawa, and we stopped in Nipigon. And there's a little Rotary kiosk in Nipigon that sells coffee on the side of but they also, Kiwanis uses that, but it's the Rotary kiosk. Of course I stopped there and I asked questions and did something. It's like, I'm in Nipigon, I connected. I didn't even know it existed. So it was kind of cool that people are doing stuff like that.
Yep. One of
Donna?
the most successful
Sorry.
clubs for new members last year in Michigan actually has really taken that idea of community connection to the next level. And they've bought a couple of those tent things that are really just like the roof of a tent on 4 poles, whatever you call those, and had them logoed and so on. And they go to all sorts of different events, farmers markets, children's events, whatever, not to be selling anything necessarily, not to be pushing anything at people, but just to be there, having a presence, and they're giving out something to kids, or maybe they're doing face painting or something. And while the kids are engaged in that, they're talking to the parents, and they're using that as both a public image and a membership thing around just having a presence in the community. So there's lots of things you can do.
Yeah, we
Donna?
did that recently at a
Sorry.
local festival with our canopy.
Mhm.
Yeah, just to be visible, but I was thinking
Yeah.
of tying in something social in the
Yeah,
club
sure,
and making
for sure.
it productive as well.
Yep, absolutely.
And Donna?
Yeah, I just wanted to share that at my last meeting, I thought the number of people who attended our meeting was low. So I mentioned to them that we got to ramp this up, we got to whoop it up a bit, and that we're going to have a few members of the Raptors come into one of our meetings, and the group erupted. That tells me they want something exciting at meetings, something that draws them to the meetings. And I said, yes, that's where we are going. So I just wanted to share that in terms of engagement.
Nice. Anybody else have a story? Anybody else have a reverse story? Where they wanted to do something and their clubs shut them down? I don't know. Dave.
I just have a quick story. It's a positive story. We've got a fair number of new members in the last 18 months, probably 8 or 9, I guess, altogether. And I did notice one lady that came in, she wasn't a member yet, but she got to thank the guest speaker. She felt engaged before she was even a member. And she's told us that too. She said, I can't believe it. You asked me to do something to be part of your club, and I'm not even a member yet. So keep that in mind. You can get them to thank the speaker. You can get them to say the toast to the king and all that sort of stuff. Get people that aren't even members yet engaged right away. It works.
Yep,
Comments,
good
anybody?
one.
Anybody?
Joe, I
Um,
just want to say before we
Go ahead.
part. I does run a lot of projects, in my club, and one of the things that I found that works the best is that sometimes I have up to 30 members, on a project, and what I do, I just said, this is what we're going to do, or this is what have to be done, and then they walk away. I'm out of there. I don't get involved with it. I let them take it and make it their own little project. And that's it. And I find that works best because we're all adults in a room. Nobody needs to be told, this is what you have to do, micromanagement. And I find it always works. So when I do ask for volunteers for a project, Ours goes up pretty fast. So I find, keep that in mind when you have a project. Don't try to micromanage the project itself.
Our club has a new members committee who are given a budget and they have, excuse me, they have a project to do. In fact, the concert that I did, our first one was a project of the new members committee. Does anyone else have, Karen's onesie is here. Very good. Does anybody else club have a new, like a new members committee that basically does projects together?
We used to have a new members committee, and I think it's a fantastic idea for clubs to have. That's where you can talk to them about RLI and talk to them about getting on my Rotary and all of that to do the courses. So I think it's a great idea.
And give them a little, seed money, $500 or something, and say, come up with a project. Take it and figure out how you're going to do something really impactful with this. In case you don't know, we have at the zone level orientation sessions. We have 3 scheduled coming up in the next months. 45 minutes, fast paced, sort of the everything you need to know about Rotary high level at the RI zone to the district level. And then the idea being that the district or the clubs would take it from there and drill down for the more localized information and knowledge that people should have. But just so you know, for new members or people wanting a refresher, the zone has 3 coming up.
Yeah, and Dave?
Karen, you have something when you became a new member at the Oshawa Club. You had a checklist, did you not? That you had to go through as a new member? Things like go out and have coffee with somebody in your club.
Yes, that was very helpful.
Yeah.
That was the first one on the list. I don't know how far I've gotten on the list, but that was very helpful. I've talked to a few people and they've given me their ideas and asked about mine, which was important. But we talked about engagement earlier. Before being a member, my second lunch, Gord dragged me over to our president and said, Karen's going to run the garage sale. And so before being a member, ran the garage sale.
Yeah, before you even were a member, you did that.
So that was feet right in the fire, and it worked. It worked.
Nice. I remember going to my first meeting and afterwards going out for coffee with some of the members, and I got an idea to do something, and they said, go for it. So turned out it wasn't feasible because the finances didn't work. But this just came out of a coffee. After my first meeting, I barely knew these guys. And they said, sure, go for it. Why not? So anybody else have anything they want to add? I just want to add something that I heard at the zone. I was fortunate enough to be there. And I think it came from District 5550. Louisa, that's like Winnipeg, isn't it? That's around there. Yeah.
I think that's the right number. Yeah.
Yeah. And it came from, I think she's the communications or she's the PI director. And she said what they do at her club, which is, I think, one of the Winnipeg clubs. They have once a month, they have a social where they invite the community. They just, I don't know, they go to a bar or something and they just say, they put it out there saying, if you want to meet some people from Rotary, go there, like go to that pub or whatever. And she said it's really a great way just to socialize with people who are interested in joining or in learning more about the Rotary, rather than it takes you one step further than a website. So, anybody else have anything they want to add? Any stories? Any questions?
Do I
Bob
talk about
Wallace
this
had a
one?
comment.
Great discussion.
Okay.
Bob Wallace had a
right.
comment. Bob
Bob?
Wallace had a comment in the chat. I think it's pretty important. Bob?
Yeah, this is sort of back to what Karen had talked about in a social atmosphere, and that is that we all should have our membership and a public image hat on when we're doing anything out in the community. Doesn't matter what it is. We should think about that component is promoting ourselves, telling people what we do in the community, but also potentially members.
Yep.
Be the brand. That's what I like to say. Tina's going to be our DG in 2 years. You're going to have This better be good, Tina.
So the membership committee, I also sit on the membership committee right now, and they're the ones that brought this Tuesday talks together. My question is, what can the district committee, the membership committee, do for you and your club? What are some things you need help with, or what are some things that we can do for you?
You can put that in writing and send it to Tina.
Anyone?
So,
You know,
Tina,
one of the things that I always find, Tina, you know, we say we have to get more members. And I think, Tess, you were talking about a plan for membership. That's really, really hard. Like, you know, Louisa, how do you actually put together a plan, you know, to get new members rather than just waiting for them to show up or give you a call?
I mean, first of all, that the important thing to sort of accept there is that membership is an intentional thing. You know, focusing on membership requires an intention. It doesn't just happen by accident. They don't just show up by accident. It's not a situation where you can just say, well, this year our goal is 5 more or whatever, and it's just going to happen. It does take some strategies, and it takes having a team of people, because a committee is not one person. So it takes a team of people to look at what specifically we're going to do. And in some cases, it means addressing some challenges within the club first. Because if there are challenges within a club, if it's losing members, well, that's a symptom of other things, and that's not the time to be bringing in a lot of new people. So I think a membership committee needs to look at all aspects of club experience and make it safe and accessible for clubs to come forward and say, we want some help, as you've just said, Tina, but it might be a case of going to clubs and saying, here's how we can help you, because they don't even know. And very often district is like this thing way out there, and what do they do anyway? And they're more of a stick than a carrot, or they're just, the connection is not understood. So I think it's important to be able to go to clubs and say, here are some things we can do for you. We can come and do a workshop. We can lead a discussion. We can brainstorm some ideas. We can help you do a survey within your club to understand the kinds of things that maybe need to be addressed within your club. We can help work with your public image people, because as Bob said, they have to go together. They should be joined at the hip. Here are some things we can do. How can we help you move forward? And then at the district level too, you can also help with, there's some funds available. There's money that sits on the table at RI every year from district membership chair opportunities to have money to do membership things. Figure out how to get that, come up with a plan and get it, and make it possible to help clubs do it. There's all kinds of things you can be doing, but they need some support and some ideas.
I'd like to just go back to yeah, Bob.
So one of the things I've been doing in the background, sitting here listening to all of this discussion tonight, is looking at who's here on this call, and by default who's not here. And we have, and I sit on the membership committee and I sit on the public image committee, and we need to be getting outside of what we're doing and get to the clubs, where there's clubs that are 7, 8, 10, 12, and they're struggling with trying to attract members. So they should be at calls like this to hear information that they could help. But looking at the list of clubs that are here, they're not here, which is an issue we have to sort out.
Yeah. And that's normal, right? It's normal. And sometimes, you know, Jennifer Jones's famous phrase, you can't spend all your time watering weeds. And so, you know, we can go to those clubs, we can offer, we can present ideas, we can give them messages that say, here are things we are offering to you. But, you know, at some point, the horse can't be made to drink.
That's right. That's right.
To wrap up, I want to bring it back to the question of engagement. And I just want a show of hands. Put your hand up if you think part of engagement, a big part of engagement, is having fun. There you go. Okay, let's have some fun out there. Anybody have anything else to say? Or can we wrap it up and thank Louisa? Louisa, thank you so much. You're inspiring as always. You have a wonderful way of putting things. You have great stories, and we thank you for your inspiration and your time. Thanks very much.
My pleasure. Enjoy.
Can,
Okay.
can I,
It
can I
happens
just,
anytime.
I just want to add one quick little thing, and I was on a debrief call for the Winnipeg zone this afternoon. And the joining of membership and PR was done because of numbers in Winnipeg, and it's become a fixture. It was an overwhelming success. So going forward, membership and PR will be joined together, and maybe that's something we should think about in our district. But that was one of the outcomes of Winnipeg was membership and PR will be joined together.
Great. I've been trying to get that for years and I could never get it. And the numbers made it happen this year by chance.
Yeah.
And I'm so
And-
glad.
Louisa, it will happen again. We talked about next September, the zone, and it will stay that way.
Yay. Thank you.
Yeah, with the zone, the joint PI membership, that worked really well. I mean, I think I did one of each. I'm not sure which were which. I honestly have no idea.
Good.
But they were both fun.
Okay. Thanks
Okay,
all.
Good
Bye.
night,
Thank you
everyone.
all.
Thank you.
Take care.
See you on the polio, World Polio Day.
Thursday.
Here.
Hey,
Bye, all.
Bob, I filled out one of those forms. Does that go to you, so that you can set yourself up to do it, the annual?
Polio Plus.
Polio Plus Society?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I did that. Haven't heard
Okay.
back.
Yeah, well, I talked about this last night at the leadership team meeting. One of the things I haven't figured out how to get the list of all the people that have joined that. So I will be in touch.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks,
You know, if you
Debbie.
get that.
Thanks for joining.
Very
So
good.
what
Thanks,
we're talking
everybody.
about is the public Polio Plus Society.
See you
See you all.
Thursday, and I'll
Okay.
celebrate my
See you
birthday at the
Thursday.
conference.
Oh, you will?
October
Uh-huh.
24 is her
Okay.
birthday on the date.